Coming up today, we're making strawberry jam.
Sponsored in part by OurDailySalt.com, handcrafted kitchen accessories and tools, crafted by Chef Felicia Wild for the home cook or the professional chef, made in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA, shipping United States and international. Visit OurDailySalt.com.
Welcome to Canning What You Grow. I'm Holly Baird. Today we are making strawberry jam. We went strawberry picking. We got some beautiful fresh ripe strawberries, and I'm going to show how to make a low sugar strawberry jam from these beautiful strawberries. So what you want to do is you want to take your strawberries and you want to get the hulls or the green part off. There's a couple different ways to do this. Some people, they buy a special tool. I just take my paring knife, and it's pretty simple. And the nice part about making this jam, you're going to mash the strawberries, so you don't have to slice them or anything. You just can put them in. You want to measure them first. Then we're going to wash them, and then we're going to get them into our pot. But you just cut out the hull just like that. So we need about 4 to 6 cups, somewhere in there. And then we're going to get them rinsed off and cleaned up. Okay, so we've mashed our berries. We're going to go ahead and put them in our pot here. And I think it was about 7 cups of whole berries that mashed down to 4 cups. So you want 4 cups of mashed berries. So I'm going to get them in there, set that aside. Then what I'm going to do is we need to add a cup of unsweetened apple juice. We have pear juice that we can from our pear tree, so I'm just going to use that as unsweetened. Same thing. So I'm going to add a cup. And I'm going to turn this on high so it gets to cooking here. There we go. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add your lemon juice. Now for this recipe, since it's a no sugar recipe, we're using the pectin for no or low sugar. Now if you use a universal pectin, you don't have to worry about that, but if you are going to do this recipe, since we're only adding a little bit of sugar, we're using one for no or low sugar. So to activate our pectin, you're going to want to add lemon juice. And this helps just work with the pectin, and it's also good to do preservatives. And you want to use bottled lemon juice so that the acidity is going to be constant throughout. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons there. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to get this going until it gets just about to a boil. You don't want to get it to much more than that. Not a full roaring boil, but a boil, because then you're going to add your sugar, and then you're going to bring it to a roaring boil. So we're just going to keep stirring so it doesn't burn. As you can see, it's boiling here. So we want to add our sugar, and then we want to add our pectin as well. So we got our sugar added. And don't worry if it's foaming, that's perfectly normal. One thing I wanted to mention is before you get everything started, you want to get your jars ready, your lids ready, your canner ready, and especially your canner, because when you put it on this burner, as you can see, it's quite big, so it's going to take a little bit of time to start boiling. So you want to do that first before you start going, so that you have it ready to go when your jam is ready to go. So I'm just keep stirring this here, and you can skim the foam off the top, which I'll show you in just a minute. Alright, so you're going to let it boil. Once it comes to back to a full rolling boil, you want to let it boil for 3 minutes, and then you can turn the heat off. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes, and as you can see, we've got a full roaring boil here. We got a little bit spitting out the sides. So we're just going to go ahead and keep stirring, and then I'm going to turn the stove off. And once this kind of gets down just a little bit, we're going to skim the foam off. But in the meantime, we're going to check our set. And this is done very simply. You just take a scoop of your jam, and you set it in a bowl. And then you wait for it to cool a little bit. And then you can tell if your set's going to be good or not. So I'm just going to kind of keep stirring this right now just because it's still warm. I don't want it to burn or anything. And wait for my to see if my jam is set. Okay, so we let it sit just for a few minutes, and as you can see, it's not moving. But another way you can tell is you just take your finger, and as you can see, it is filling back in. But if we let it cool just a little bit longer, I don't think it would. So I'm happy with that. With this at this time, I would kind of know if it wasn't setting. Some people do the spoon test. They take a spoon and they stick it in there, and then if it doesn't completely run off the back of the spoon, then they are satisfied with it. So it's really up to you what you want to do. If you want to, I might wait and check it in just a few minutes because it's not super cool. It's still kind of warm, and then see if I want to make any changes. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I gave it a few more minutes to cool, and as you can see, when I run my finger through, it doesn't fill back in. It leaves what's called like a snail trail. So now we know that our jam is going to be set up just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my slotted spoon, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of skim the foam off the top. Sometimes you can get it to come off pretty easy. You know, there's nothing wrong with the foam. It's just people think it's unsightly. If you add a little butter or margarine to your jam, sometimes that helps reduce it. I don't want to, so I don't. Okay, so then you want to get your jam into the jars here. You need a 1/4 inch of headspace. So you use your headspace measure to measure that. Okay, so I didn't show this, but it's important to, before you put your lid on, you want to make sure you go ahead and wipe your rim, because that will ensure that you have a good seal. If you have any food products stuck there, it might not seal correctly. Then you want to get your ring on, and you just want to finger tighten it. You don't want to over tighten it, because that could prevent them from sealing also. So we actually ended up with six jars, which is what the recipe said. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and get these other 2 in here, and they process for 10 minutes as long as the water is boiling. You want to make sure your water is boiling before you start your timer. Okay, so our timer has gone off, which means our jam is ready to go. So I'm going to just go ahead and get my lid off here. And you can lift the rack up, or you can just remove them without lifting the rack up. I'm just going to take them out like this. Unless I don't feel safe doing it, then I'll lift the rack up. Let's see, I think that's what I'll do. Okay. Well, maybe not. I'll be okay. All right, so when you do this, you want to just go ahead, transfer them directly to a towel or something that you have on your countertop. And you want to use, if it's a heavier jar or something, then you might want to put a hot pad underneath while you're transferring them, just in case you don't have a tight grip. Okay, so there's our 6 jars. You're going to let them sit for, you can let them sit for about 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours. And if you hear, you're going to hear the ping. Now, if you check the lid, if it goes in and out after about 24 hours, then you can just put the jam in the fridge and eat it within a couple weeks. And I think most of them have sealed already. So there you have it. You make strawberry jam. It's pretty easy, pretty simple, straightforward, and it's quite delicious. For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.